What's going on, y'all? Thanks for checking in the Khaliis Take. You know what to do. Hit that like, subscribe button. Also hit that notification bell just so you can get the newest and the bonus content first. But hey, let's just go ahead and jump right in. It's no secret, three of the biggest things that the Clippers need are very, very evident and definitely needs that they need to take care of as soon as possible. You know, when I think about the Clippers, they definitely have a chance to win a championship this year. They definitely have a chance to be, the best team in the NBA going into next year. And definitely with Kawhi and PG, returning fully healthy, that definitely will, better their chances of, taking it the distance. Now, I do say, as I said, there are three things that I think that they can utilize that can help them, secure the victory, secure the bag, secure the championship. And of course, one of them, in my opinion, of course, definitely is that point guard position. The point guard position is definitely huge because, when you look at a team like the Boston Celtics in the finals now, the reason why they struggle a lot in the fourth quarter of closing out games and not finishing games off at times is because they really don't have a true solidified point guard. Marcus Smart is okay at times, but he's not a true point guard. He's not a point guard that distribute the ball and do true point guard things in regards to less turnovers, getting more better high quality shots for his team. And they just kind of utilize him in that role, but he's not a true point guard where you can ask him to set up the offense in a way where it'll make them effective. His assist to turnover ratio is not point guard worthy. So I mean, this is what I'm saying with the Clippers. When you think about them a couple years ago or about a year ago or less, a lot of times, even when they was in the playoffs about a year ago, when Kawhi was there, they struggled a lot that season ending games because, there was no point guard. And they thought they had that in Rondo. They thought he would fix that, but he didn't. So after him, they kind of went away from that a little bit, but they need to get back to that because that's what they need. They need somebody to, regulate the offense at times when it's just too much isolation basketball going on. Now, of course, you got Kawhi and PG. Isolation is not a bad situation with those two players, but in the playoffs, you need more ball movement. I mean, look at the Warriors. The Warriors play with precision ball movement, and it finds the right guy most of the time who could take the high percentage shot. And the only way to really do that is to have a certified point guard, in which the Warriors do in Stephen Curry. So this is my point with the Clippers. I mean, even in the draft, a point guard is something they need to look for, even still, if they could find somebody in the draft that they can see as a point guard that can give them the opportunity to, play better down the stretch of games and make their offense run a little bit easier. That'd be good if they could find a young point guard who could do that. Or personally, I think it'd be better if they found a point guard in the offseason, for one of these teams that in the NBA that maybe have a free agent or, find somebody available in the offseason that would work. And specifically, Corey Joseph was the one I spoke of yesterday, or that I spoke of in regards to, somebody they could pick up. I think they should look into getting somebody like him. But whatever the case may be, the point guard position is very important because you see, no matter how good a team is, at some point when it comes to executing plays at a high level, when the game is on the line and when it's a close game, 1 point, 2 point game, that makes the difference between teams who have a really good point guard and teams who don't, which is, like I said, one reason why, the Boston Celtics are struggling with the Warriors right now, because in the games, like I said, the point guard isn't there. Marcus Smart can only do but so much, but he's not a solidified point guard, and their shot selection is much harder, and their way of scoring is much harder. Whereas, when you look at Golden State, at times their way of scoring looks a little bit easier at times. Not all the time because Boston got defense, but at times it looks a little bit easier because Stephen Curry is a point guard and he draws so much attention. And like I said, he finds with the ball movement they have and the spacing, it finds the right guy to take a high percentage shot. And that's what the Clippers need. So I think that's one area, of course, 100% no doubt they should look into, because their spacing can make them a little bit even more effective and more high quality shots from everybody else on the team besides Kawhi Leonard, who takes efficient shots and takes shots within his means. It would make them more of a complete team if they had that point guard. So I definitely think they need to look there. Now, I will say this, they do need, the number two thing I would say they need is rim pressure. And when I say rim pressure, what I mean is they need to either find somebody in the draft or, acquire, maybe somebody in the off season or whatever the case may be, where they attack the rim more. So one Achilles heel of the Clippers at times when you watch them play is they take a lot of threes. They make a lot of threes, but they take a lot of 3-pointers. And sometimes that could be a gift and a curse. You need guys who go to the rim and who's more aggressive at attacking the rim. So having somebody like that who plays more with that type of edge, Kawhi Leonard does that as well, that would make them more of a dynamic team. It would put more pressure on other teams' defense rather than just bailing them out, shooting a three, and let's say you're off from your 3-point range, and that allows other team to run down the court with a fast break and score more points if you're shooting threes and it outlets all the way to a fast break because you're missing. And sometimes the Clippers get caught up in shooting too many threes. They need more players or some other player that puts, pressure on other team at the rim. Go in there with some athleticism, go in there with some force, and make the other team, defend from a different level rather than just defend from the perimeter. See what I'm saying? Because that would make the Clippers offense even more dynamic, even though the Clippers offense is good now. And like I said, Kawhi Leonard likes to drive to the basket and draw fouls and, put pressure on the rim. He does things like that, but other players on the team need to do it more, and they need to acquire somebody, maybe they need to acquire somebody also in the offseason who will do the same thing, because it can't just be Kawhi Leonard going to the rim, putting pressure on the other team's defense by getting into the teeth of the defense and trying to score in the trenches. It should be all the other players on the Clippers as well. Sometimes Reggie Jackson can get too happy shooting threes, Paul George, and the rest of them. But, sometimes putting the ball on the floor and getting to the basket, it really changes the dynamic of a game because it throws the team off because they think that the Clippers are a good shooting team and they live and die by the three, which the Clippers usually do. In a lot of games, they do anyway. So they definitely need more rim pressure. And as a team, they need to attack the rim more, I think. Whether they get somebody or not, as a team, I think they need to attack the rim more and throw teams off defensively so they won't catch on to what the Clippers are doing. Because, like I said, the Clippers, were the number one 3-point shooting team about, a year or so ago. And that's good, but as I said, sometimes they get a little too, happy with the jump shot, like they're the Warriors or Splash Brothers or something. That's not what they do. That's not what they should live by. I mean, they got a lot of athletic players. I mean, Terrence Mann, you got, of course, Kawhi, PG, you got players who can go to the rim and do something. Robert Covington, Norman Powell. You got players who are athletic enough to go to the rim and put more pressure on teams in the interior. And that's one thing I think the Clippers need to work on. And like I said, they need to acquire somebody else as well, or maybe even in the draft or whoever, that has that type of mindset. Go to the rim and put pressure, on the defense that way instead of bailing them out shooting threes. Because when your three is off, you're only helping the other team. You're not hurting the other team. And that's something that, even in the finals here, we see with the Boston Celtics. They're shooting a lot of threes and they're really helping the Warriors out rather than going at the Warriors and attacking them every single time because they got more length, they got more strength, and they're more youthful than the Warriors because they actually have a younger team overall, I believe anyway. So, this is the type of things that the Clippers should be looking at as well. We need to attack the rim more. We need more of that type of mentality. And it would be okay if we draft somebody like that as well, or we find somebody in the offseason that we can acquire to the team that puts more, rim pressure, that piles up the rim pressure in regards to the other team. Attack the other team from different angles and make them defend us from different ways, so it makes us more unpredictable as a team on offense, and then we run our defense the way we run our defense. You see what I'm saying? That's the way the Clippers need to be. Their defense is solid, their defense is good, but their offense could be a little bit more versatile, and their offense needs to be a little bit more unpredictable, and that's exactly what's going to make the Clippers a better team and get over the hump, when next year come and going into next year's playoffs to see how far they go. You see what I'm saying? And then you have the last thing I want to say the Clippers are going to need. They're going to need more offensive rebounding. I like what Zubac and Hartenstein can do together as far as getting rebounds. I think both of them are really good. I mean, both of them can get some offensive rebounds. Don't get me wrong. They definitely can. But I definitely think it never hurts to have another big man or maybe another power forward / center where they can get some extra, where they have some athleticism in there, where they can get more offensive rebounding and allow them to get some second chance shots. Because as I said before, the Clippers sometimes get happy with shooting a lot of threes because they're such a good 3-point shooting team, and they got a lot of shooters around them. So they got a lot of shooters on their roster. And so sometimes they get a little happy with it and they get carried away with the threes. So if you're going to get carried away with threes, it definitely wouldn't hurt having extra rebounding, having somebody athletic down there who gets extra boards, who fights for extra boards. It doesn't need to be nobody with a big name or anything like that. It could just be somebody that they draft, the NBA draft, but get somebody with some, power forward / center size who can get you some more rebounding, because rebounding is important. Usually the teams that win championships have good rebounding, whether it's good offensive rebounding, second chance points, or they're just a good rebounding team anyway, just because that's they make sure they have somebody down there who can battle for the boards and, get, the more opportunities for second chance points. And that's something I think the Clippers need to invest in or look at as well. Because like I said, with Zubac and Hartenstein, you got that. They definitely get offensive rebounds at times. They could be a little bit better, just like anybody else could. But for the most part, they get offensive rebounds. They definitely, do their part there, but having another big man there who can do that and who gives the Clippers more of an opportunity to score second chance points when they have nights where they're shooting a lot of threes because they're getting a lot of wide open shots. They're just missing them. Every team has those nights where you get these wide open threes and you're taking them, but they're just not falling in. But you get those second chance opportunities, and that's when you start seeing jumpers and threes and everything, start to fall. Or when you get a second chance opportunity off of an offensive rebound, you can get somebody, cutting to the basket like a Kawhi Leonard, or like maybe another wingman cutting to the basket, trying to draw fouls, adding that rim pressure to the other, to the other team and putting pressure on their defense. See, that's why I say, offensive rebounds is really huge. So I think the Clippers need to acquire somebody else in that area too, because I think that'll definitely help them overall, because that'll make them a total team. Because now when they have nights where they're shooting threes a lot, and let's just say they're shooting threes and some of them are not going in, those second chance points will alert the Clippers to, hey, it'll allow them to get another good, efficient shot from the arc, or maybe, like I said, have somebody cut to the basket. When you get the offensive rebound, draw a foul, go to the free throw line. You see what I'm saying? Put pressure on the other team. That's the Clippers need to realize, because that's something that's going to get them over the hump. Even though they got all these good players on their team, getting too cocky, shooting threes can hurt you. It can get you knocked off. And that's not what the Clippers want, because this operation has to work and they have to try to find a way to win a championship. And the only way to do that is to set yourself up that way and have all the pieces you need, but also have all the areas filled to where it will make you a complete team, and it'll make you very versatile. It'll make you much harder to defend as the opposing team going into the Clippers' house, or whether the Clippers go into their house. It'll make the Clippers just overly difficult to deal with, because they got two really good, two of the best defenders in the NBA. And Kawhi, to me, is one of the best, to me, the best player in the NBA when healthy. But I'm just saying, having those type of guys, those dynamic guys on defense, and can give you the offense they can give you. If they had a little bit more offensive rebounding, with that, along with more penetration to the basket, and a point guard that can slow the offense down, sometime anchor the offense when, they're not playing playing good, or when they're like doing a lot of, or when they're doing too much isolation, it'll definitely make the Clippers a complete team, and that'll better their chances of, taking the distance next year and possibly winning it all. But hey, that's my take on everything. Leave any comments in the comment section. As always, check out my other videos if you haven't. And hey, Khaliis out.